And guest alone, and not those of Vic Canellis Media Group, its parent, affiliates, or stations. VCMG Live is not responsible for any content, information, or opinions expressed. User bears full responsibility for their reliance on such content, information, or opinions.
Amp2.tv presents You and Your Doctor, teaching you to live a longer and healthier life. Proudly sponsored by All County Healthcare, where people are the heart of our business. All County Healthcare is a Medicare certified agency where one call will service all your home care health needs. For more information, call 954-717-7027 or visit our website, allcountyhealthcare.com. Now, let's get informed to living a longer and healthier life. Here is your host for today's show.
Welcome back to another episode of You and Your Doctor, sponsored by All County Healthcare. We are a certified home healthcare agency servicing Palm Beach County, Broward, and Miami-Dade, and we can be reached at 954-717-7027. I am your host, Louise Gomez, and I am so excited to introduce everybody today to Dr. Bilga Attar. And she is a family and geriatric medicine specialist. She can be reached at 561-483-9282. And the email. Okay. Is it? Is that the right number? 561-483-9282. Mm-hmm. Okay. Want to make sure. And yeah, you can reach her through her nurse practitioner. I believe you mentioned that would be Rachel, and she will be able to assist anybody who's calling in. And the email is bilgaattar@aol.com. Thank you so much for returning, Dr. Attar.
Oh, you're welcome. It's a pleasure.
We always loved having you.
Thank
you do so much for the community, and you have such a great background and history. Can you share a little bit with the audience, to share a little bit about, where did you go to school? Why did you want to become a doctor? A little bit of your background so we can share with the audience.
Well, my parents are both physicians, were physicians.
Oh, nice.
They're deceased right now. So all my life I grew up basically in hospital grounds with nurses and other doctors. So my parents decided to come to United States way back in the late 50s.
Okay.
When I was in grammar school. So I came with them and my sister. We lived in New York City.
Little scary transition at that age, right?
I had to learn English fast
Yeah.
in grammar school, but it was okay. And then we lived in Canada for about a year in different states in the United States while my parents were training.
I see.
My dad was a surgeon. My mom was a pulmonologist. Okay. So we ended up finally in Buffalo, New York.
Ooh, nice and cold over there.
Oh, it is, yeah. It's a wonderful town.
Yes.
It's a great university, State University of New York at Buffalo. I'm a member. So I studied first my chemistry. I graduated with a chemistry degree. I said, what am I going to do with this, So I looked at my friends who were pharmacists, and I said, I'll go back to school again, and I studied pharmacy.
Okay.
And I was licensed as a pharmacist in New York. Then I moved to New Jersey to be near family. And at that time, I did hospital pharmacy for many years. I worked at Sloan Kettering Memorial Hospital.
That's a great hospital, yes.
And I worked also at NIAC, and I ran the Poison Control Center.
Oh, okay.
This was when the kids were doing some of the drugs.
Oh, yeah.
So it was rough.
Yeah.
And finally, the weather got to me, and I decided to move to Florida. That was the best move that I ever made.
Well, we're happy that you moved down here.
Yes, and I had wonderful friends in the pharmacy world. And I did that for a couple of years. Actually, I moved to Deerfield Beach first.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Across from Century Village. And I had a lot of the patients would come to the pharmacy and ask me for advice constantly. And I said, this is not that great. I need to go back to school. And I went back to medical school, American University of the Caribbean.
Nice.
which is now in St. Martin.
Beautiful.
And then when I finished, I came back to New Jersey where I did my internship and residency at JFK in Edison, New Jersey.
Another good
They're
school.
connected to Robert Wood Johnson School of Medicine. So I graduated with a family physician and got board certified several times. And then moved right back to Deerfield Beach. and to Boca Raton.
Amazing. Well, we so appreciate that you're here and with all your experience. I'm happy that those people at the pharmacy were asking you questions. It seems like
yes.
it prompted you to want to learn more.
They're my angels, and I said to
Yeah.
myself, they drove me crazy to go back
Yeah.
to school
Yeah.
because I saw that there was such a need for
Right.
a physician.
Yes.
And so, and I ended up practicing geriatric medicine.
Wow. And you are at Legacy, and congratulations. They were voted best by U.S. News.
Yes.
They were voted best locations.
And it's Legacy Long-Term Care and Rehabilitation Center.
Wow.
And they were voted, I'm very pleasantly surprised and proud that they were voted for #1 or one of the best in,
That's amazing.
in that news.
So what, for the audience who's tuning in and listening, when should they go look at that location, and maybe they have family members who, what is your advice to them?
The way it works is they have a section where we have long-term care patients. These are the patients who are sort of incapacitated and they need really nursing home care.
I see.
And the other side of the facility is subacute.
Okay.
These are the patients that are discharged from the hospital, still not well enough to go home.
I see.
So we take care of these patients. They're called subacute post-hospital patients, where we may continue with IV fluids, IV antibiotics, respiratory care, nebulizer treatments,
Sure.
etc. And then finally, when they're well enough, with physical therapy, medical management, and then they go home. And when they go home, most of the patients will need home health care, at least to have a nurse visit them a couple of times a week to make sure they're safe in their home and that they remain safe medically and physically. So that's what we do.
That's amazing, because you're able to give them, at the subacute level, you're able to give them, you said, the physical therapy or the IV fluids or
the medical care. That's my part. Mostly they come out with maybe heart failure, kidney failure, diabetics with blood sugars not well controlled post discharge from the hospital. They may be needing antibiotics, respiratory therapy, exacerbation of COPD or CHF. That's what we take care of.
Right.
On the other side, we have physical and occupational therapy, which is very important
It's
for them
necessary,
to be able to take care of themselves once they leave that facility. And we make sure that they're safe enough to go home
I see.
before we discharge them.
Right. And then in the event, if they need that other care, the long-term care,
Long-term.
then they have
We
that.
could transition them to the long-term care because the families sometimes are unable to take care of the elderly patients who may be demented, functionally declined, dementia, and multiple other medical problems that the family is just overwhelmed.
Right. Right.
So they may need to have their blood sugars checked. They may have recurrent urinary tract infections. They tend to fall, fracture,
yeah.
dehydrate.
That's scary.
We can take care of those problems pretty
Sure.
much at the facility,
Right.
but there are other problems we can't take care of, acute respiratory failure, etc. Then they go right back to the ER. But we try to keep them safe
Yes.
and treat them as much as we can to prevent hospitalization.
What are you finding? Is there a common, since you've been in healthcare for so long, is there something now more common than others? Like, is it dementia, or is it, you know, diabetes, or what are you finding maybe?
Well, we're
that's-
seeing, let's see, the first one would be gait imbalance. As people get older, their hearing is impaired,
Okay.
vision is impaired.
Right.
And on top of that, they have, they develop, if they have hypertension, diabetes that affects their other organs,
Right.
heart failure, kidneys. We see more and more of that. Debility as far as walking
Okay.
and safety with walking or transferring from bed to a wheelchair to the toilet. If they're unable to take care of themselves, then they are wide open for urinary tract infections, ulcers, pneumonia. It's to be expected. So we try to catch that way ahead of time
Right.
so they don't end up in sepsis in the emergency room. So we see more of that. Chronic illnesses getting worse.
Any suggestions that you can maybe give to our audience on aging, I guess, you know, gracefully in such a way where we can kind of maybe maintain our health in such a way where we don't fall into these types of acute
I think
situations?
keeping busy mentally and socially is very important. Social isolation is not very good.
Right.
And also keeping active,
Yes.
walking, exercising. Don't neglect yourself.
Right.
With your vision, I would say you need to see your eye doctor at least twice a year, your dentist 3 or 4 times a year for dental cleaning and hygiene. That's very important. It's not a good thing to have cavities because
Right.
that's associated with heart disease.
Right. It's amazing our teeth. How once we, you know, maintain them. I go to the dentist twice a year, and they tell me, yeah, like people who neglect their teeth, it ends up spiraling into
yes, it
something
could-
so much
sure.
worse.
I'm very lucky because I have a girlfriend and her husband are my best friends.
Oh, nice.
And they're both dentists
Oh,
here in town. It's like a few
wonderful.
blocks down, Dr. Senishin and Dr. Wernicke. So they take care of me, which I'm very happy with. But we do have dentists that come to our facility
Oh, that's great.
to take care of these patients. Yeah.
That is great. So it's funny because I was asking, you know, what do you suggest? And a lot of things you were mentioning is what they noticed in the blue zones, these countries where they live in their hundreds, or you know, like certain blue zone countries where they have a sense of community. They're eating a healthy diet. They're doing an active lifestyle. So those are, excuse me, those are some of the things that you are mentioning. And in these blue zone countries where they live, like certain places in Japan or in, you know, certain parts of the world, in Italy and I know Costa Rica, and these blue zone countries, this is what they're talking about.
Well, yeah, socialization and being active mentally and physically.
Yeah.
And eating properly. I myself cut off red meat totally. I mean, past 40 years, I don't go there.
Oh, okay.
And olive oil is my choice of fat, and avocados.
Nice.
Mediterranean diet is always good. Well, we can indulge once in a while in fried chicken, but not every night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, of
or
course.
pizza once in a while. So don't, you know, hurt yourself.
Right.
Or,
It's
yeah.
about balance, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And also, stress is important.
Oh, yes.
Stress is a big thing.
Yes.
I know we all have stresses in our lives,
Sure.
either with family, finances, whatever. But try to take control, because if you don't, what matters is you. I mean, at the end of the day,
Right.
if you're not here, that's still going to exist.
Absolutely.
So-
We're going to take a quick commercial break, Dr. Attar. We'll be right back. We're going to
okay.
continue that conversation, and when we come back,
All County Healthcare has exciting news for any and all patients with COPD or other respiratory ailments. Listen to what renowned pulmonologist Dr. Keith Robinson has to say.
Hello, I'm Dr. Keith Robinson, board-certified pulmonologist, medical director at Fusion Health Pulmonary Rehabilitation, and a board member with the American Lung Association of South Florida. We have exciting news for patients with COPD. We now offer IPV therapy at home, which has been demonstrated to improve airway clearance, decrease hospitalization, and improve quality of life of patients with COPD. Please call All County Healthcare for more information about this FDA-approved therapy.
For further information, call All County Healthcare now at 954-717-7027. That is 954-717-7027, or visit our website at allcountyhealthcare.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Remember, All County Healthcare always puts the patient's needs first. You are listening to You and Your Doctor, Living Longer and Healthier, an informative show that helps you find answers to questions you always wanted to ask, but did not have that somebody that could make a difference in your life. Call into the show if you have a question at 888-565-1470, and we will put you on the air to inform all our listeners. Now, back to our show.
Thanks for tuning back to You and Your Doctor, sponsored by All County Healthcare. We're a certified home health care agency, and we're servicing Palm Beach County, Broward, and Miami-Dade. We can be reached at 954-717-7027. I am chatting with Dr. Bilga Attar, who is a family and geriatric medicine specialist. We are having a great conversation about prevention, and I was asking you a little bit about what are some of the ideas that we can implement in our everyday life and staying healthy. And you mentioned maintaining our stress levels, right?
That's exactly maintaining your stress levels by getting a realistic picture of what's going on.
Yep.
And concentrate on that.
Mm-hmm.
Also, talking to your friends always helps.
Yep.
Supportive system you have to have. There's always a solution.
That's
There's
right.
always a solution, and you come to an understanding.
That's right.
With chronic illnesses, going back to
Yes.
preventive medicine and living healthier lives,
Mm-hmm.
if one has chronic illnesses such as diabetes,
Yep.
heart disease, kidney disease, etc., I would recommend that they see their physician at least 4 times a year to see what's going on with their blood sugar or kidney function or heart failure. It's very important. And it's important to get a good physician where you have a good rapport with. Nowadays, with insurances and computers,
Yeah.
the doctors are very stressed out themselves,
course.
needing to see so many patients.
Sure.
But if you did follow up with your physician, if you do have these chronic problems, maybe 4 times a year would
Okay.
be really good. Then your doctor gets to know you, and they can look at your notes, examine you, and then decide what to do, if whatever they need to adjust their medications and what
Good
they
to
have
know.
to
Great,
do.
great suggestion. I mean, I think, seeing your doctor more can only help us because they'll be able to monitor and really, see what's going on.
And if you're a healthy adult, I mean, you could see your physician every 6 months or once a year.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have adult exams for females
Yes.
with follow-up of mammograms, colonoscopies, vaccinations, etc. So some of the preventive things that you should talk to your doctor about.
Absolutely. So, Dr. Attar, I know as a doctor you're so busy because you have to do a lot of those CMEs, those continuing medical education courses. I know that's every so often. Are you busy doing that?
Yes. When I first started residency in family practice in New Jersey, my first rotation was in pediatrics.
Okay.
So I went in there first day, and here I am with another third-year resident. And I said to him, "Where's the rest of the residents and interns?" And he said, "They're all gone." I said, "Where did they go?" And they said, "They're on a respite." I said, "What's a respite?" So they said, "Doctors have burnout. They have to go on a respite for rest every so often." So I said, okay, you know. So we went on to work. And when I started my second year of residency, I had a week off. And I said, great, I'm going off to Florida. I'm tired of New Jersey snow, etc.
Sure.
So I came here, and I have friends, and I said, "Oh, let me work at in a pharmacy. I miss it, you know, I'll do that." So I did that for a week, and I took time off at the beaches. So when I went back to my residency, they found out that I work, and they were so upset with me.
They wanted you to
They said,
disconnect.
"That's a no-no." They said, "You have to take off
Right.
every so often
Right.
to get get your
Yes.
rest."
Right.
So,
So what
to
do
avoid
you do?
burnout.
Yeah. So what do
So
you do
with
for
me,
that?
for the past, I would say, 10 years, with the advice of one of my friends who's a psychiatrist, he said, you need to take off every 2 months. You need to have a week off. So
I like that.
I usually plan on a conference, usually in Hawaii or Orlando.
Nice.
Once or twice I did on a cruise where they
Okay.
have
Oh, they have CMEs on the
continuing
cruise.
medical
Nice.
education, right?
Very good.
So I would do half a day of conference and then half a day relaxation or riding around, seeing different things. So my
Nice.
favorite places are actually, I love the Keys, but more so Hawaii, the
Wow.
Big Island. I did get my medical license there,
Amazing.
by the way. The Big Island is so interesting. I mean, so many different topographies, climates in the same island. And it has an interesting history, very interesting history. And it became a state in 1959.
Yes.
It's a beautiful state.
I haven't been there yet. I can't wait to go. One day.
There's the Big Island, that's my favorite island. There's Oahu, which is built up from the 60s.
Sure.
There's Maui, it's a beautiful country. And there's Kauai, they call that the Garden Island. It's gorgeous. And during the summers, I take off to Turkey for a couple of weeks.
Beautiful.
Gorgeous, absolutely. The coast, the Mediterranean coast is beautiful, full of history.
I feel like this is necessary for doctors. So
Oh,
what
yes,
you're
just to
saying,
get
to
away.
disconnect.
And not just laying out and having pina colada at the beach. I don't do that.
Right. What do you like to do?
I like to actually see historical sites and get some history. For example, there's a beach called the Cleopatra Beach on the Mediterranean coast of Turkey near Antalya. So I said, where did they ever get this Cleopatra Beach from, you know, the name?
Yeah.
So apparently the story goes that Anthony, after Caesar died, Anthony fell in love with Cleopatra,
Oh, I see.
brought her over to this beach, and she complained that it was too many stones there. So Anthony brought several boatful of sand from the Sahara to this beach. And I thought that was interesting. You
Yes,
know?
it is.
So there's a lot of interesting
Uh-huh.
areas along the coast of the Mediterranean coast
Uh-huh.
and along the Aegean coast. There's the city of Troy.
Yeah.
They made a movie there, and they have the Trojan horse. Still, the moviegoers, they just
Yeah.
left it there, and it's very interesting.
So, Dr. Attar, we actually have 2 minutes left,
Okay.
and I wanted just to wrap it up with thank you for your share also with the travel. I think it's imperative that doctors take that time
yes.
out. So, thank you for that. And so we have 2 minutes left. What would you like to share with our audience in the last 2 minutes? Any suggestions or any ideas? Or what do you think they could do if they're taking care? Maybe there's a lot of people listening that are taking care of aging patients, aging parents. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What would you suggest? For anybody right now, searching geriatric care.
Well, the caregivers eventually do burn out.
Yeah.
Take care of the aged patient at home as much as possible, as long as possible,
Right.
because everyone wants to be home. They don't want to be in a nursing home.
Yeah.
But if it becomes too much and they're burning out, they're not going to be good for themselves or for the patient. Then
Right.
I would say look for a good nursing home.
Yeah.
I
And that's-
think Legacy is one of the better nursing homes. I mean, I've been in Boca for many years. It's one of the much better nursing homes that I have been to. So, but there are several others in the area that they can go and visit and
Yes,
see if
good
their loved
idea.
one would be
Good
happy
idea,
there.
because we're in a demographic where there's a lot of different options, so they can
Yes.
visit and see.
Well,
and-
we
and
have the
research.
options of independent living, assisted living. That
Yep.
might be another talk,
Yep.
and the nursing home, all in one
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on the show. We so appreciate you. Anybody who wants to reach out and learn about Legacy, you can reach her at 561-483-9282. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Until next week, we will see you again. Take care.
Well done.